more on this story, we can go across to France 24's Valerie Dekimpe standing by in Glasgow for us. Valerie, what's on the agenda today?
Well, the highlight of the day will be the World Leaders Summit, and traditionally it takes place at the end of the climate summit, but this time around it's going to happen at the opening of COP26. The objective being for leaders to set the tone for the next 2 weeks and to give a boost to negotiations as COP26 gets underway. Leaders have begun arriving here this morning at the conference center. Boris Johnson is already here, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres as well, and we are expecting about more than 120 heads of states, including French President Emmanuel Macron, U.S. President Joe Biden. This is the first time that the U.S. is taking part in the climate summit since the country rejoined the Paris Agreement. We will also see Scott Morrison from Australia. The country has recently announced that it will reach net zero emissions by 2050. Also, Narendra Modi from India. We're also expecting their latest climate targets. And we will also see some major figures from international organizations and civil society. Greta Thunberg, for example, the climate activist, had initially said she would be boycotting COP26, but she has arrived in Glasgow. She traveled by train yesterday. But more importantly, though, missing from the lineup, we have Xi Jinping from China. The UN has said that the Chinese president will only participate in the summit in the form of a written statement. Also, Vladimir Putin from Russia and Jair Bolsonaro from Brazil will not be attending in person. Some major household names as well. Queen Elizabeth will not be attending in person she canceled her trip for health reasons. Later today, what exactly is going to happen today? So we will see the opening ceremony of the World Leaders Summit presided by Boris Johnson, the host of this year's summit. And after that, leaders will take to the stage one after the other. They will be giving a speech. They will be presenting their climate plans as part of the national announcements. And this will be the opportunity for leaders to really be confronted with their responsibilities, even though we're not expecting any major announcements here in Glasgow for now, as more than 140 countries have already submitted their climate plans.
And Valerie, what's the mood as this summit, really kicks off? Because the G20 just wrapped up and we had Boris Johnson as well as Antonio Guterres leave there quite disappointed, really.
There's certainly a sense of heightened urgency here at COP26. We heard just now from Boris Johnson saying we are 1 minute to midnight when it comes to reaching the goal of 1.5 degrees of warming. He also said yesterday that if COP26 fails, then the whole system fails. You mentioned Antonio Guterres there. He has also described COP26 as a make or break moment for the Paris Agreement. And the reason that is because the stakes could not be any higher. So in 2015, when countries signed the Paris Agreement, they agreed to come back every 5 years with updated plans with more ambition. And because of the COVID-19 pandemic, that didn't happen last year. And COP26 is the time to do that. And it will be the first real test of that crucial element of the Paris Agreement, that ratchet mechanism, to see if countries are willing to ramp up ambition. That is why some people have even said that if the Paris Agreement was the engagement party, well, then COP26 is the wedding, and we are waiting to see if countries will honor their commitments. So far, there's not a lot to celebrate. We know that we need to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, but currently, with current pledges, the world is on course for a 3-degree temperature rise. We also know very clearly what we need to do in order to avert the worst consequences of climate change. Scientists have been very clear about this. We need to cut CO2 emissions by 45% by 2030, only in the next 8 years. But so far, we are on track for a 16% increase in emissions. So clearly, the conference has not gotten off to a very good start, and leaders will really need to ramp up ambition and make it clear that they are willing to step up their climate plans.
Okay, we'll see what happens in the hours and days to come. Thank you very much for that, Valerie. Valerie Dekimpe reporting there from Glasgow.